Let's get into one of my favorite sections. I've been waiting to do this pretty much the whole week, and it's the failed predictions of the so-called experts in the market. Probably the best section because I just laugh every time I see this, because whenever they come out with a new prediction, I just think, oh man, this must be the best time to buy because this guy has no idea what he's talking about. So there's actual four lots of them that I'm going to get into. And first of all, you have the dot-com bubble. You'll then also have the GFC crash. Then you also have the COVID-19 crash or COVID 2020 crash. And then also today's impending crashes that the media experts happen to say as well. Let's start with the dot-com crash, or the crash in 2001. So we had a thing in 2001 that was called the dot-com bubble, where everyone was scared of that. And there was a guy called Harry Dent who came out to Australia, and this guy's got the best track record I've ever seen of any economist. He's been wrong 379 times out of 379. Actually, he might have been right once, but you know, even a broken clock tells the time right twice a day. So well done for guessing that, mate. But anyway, he also then thought in 2001 that due to the 9/11 attacks on the Twin Towers, which was awful, that uncertainty in the market create a market crash in Australia. So from memory, he said it would crash more than 30%. In some cases, he even said up to 50. And yeah, let's just look what happened. So you'll see in 1996 here the prices, and then you'll see in 2008. So good old Harry Dent did him a great service of that. You can see all cities in Australia pretty much more than doubled in that period. So yeah, well done. And I think what he usually does is he comes out, he'll say the market's going to crash. Oh my God, you know, there's going to be bloodbath on the streets. Everyone's going to be living in tents and stuff like that. And then he goes, buy my book. And then what happens is 10 years later, he comes back out again. All these people say you're wrong, and he'll say, you just wait. And then the market doubles again, and he tells them to wait again. So in that time, the market would have quadrupled, and he's still waiting for his 50% crash. So whenever he says the market's going to crash, just remember he's probably picked the bottom of the market. Perfect time to buy. So you know, you can, if you want to buy his book, just buy it and have it as a comedy session, because you know, it'd be a good time and a good laugh for everyone that knows what they're talking about. But just consider that whenever he says something, just do the complete opposite, and you're probably going to make a lot of money. Another one, Stephen Keane loses housing bet against Rory Robertson. This again is in 2009. So he put a bet on it. He said the market would crash 40%. This is an economist. And he lost a bet that he had to walk up Mount Kosciuszko from memory. And what basically happened here was he said the market would crash 40% because of obviously the mortgage crisis was over in America. What he didn't realize was obviously we have full recourse lending, and we're not like America where you can get a loan and buy a house in your dog's name like on The Big Short. So in saying that, obviously we had a little bit of a correction. We had about an 8 to 10% correction or so in a lot of markets, which is okay. That can happen. But then what happened was after it, we had a very big boom, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne. You can see there alone, it went from this is just capital cities alone, right up to 2017 if you really want to look at it. Prices pretty much doubled in Sydney and Melbourne, which is just crazy. Melbourne particularly, from 2014 especially to 2017 did very well. But in just the preceding years after 2009, you can see immediate growth. And yeah, he helped a lot of people out who listened to him. And look, I don't mean to kill all these guys that don't, know what they're talking about and like to spruik the media, but it's such a wrong thing to do, and really it's misleading, really. If you're in a position of power, just get it right. You shouldn't have a job if you can't get it right, seriously. Anyway, on to the COVID predictions. CBA warns a 32% house price correction and prolonged downturn. 1.5 billion in coronavirus hit to the bank. Now, this was in May 2020. What happened in 2021? From memory, I think we had the biggest boom on record. It was for like 30 years or something like that. I think it was even before I was born, which is insane. Went back to the data and I was just almost shaking my head saying 32% decrease, and I think the market did 25%. So what? They were 57% wrong? Like, how do you have a job and you're 57% wrong? Like, I have a mate who's a tradie, and if he runs a electrical business, and if someone can't wire something properly and they're in their probation period, they just get the sack. How do these guys not get the sack? They're 57% wrong. Like, what the hell? How can you be that wrong? It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, again, they do what they do. And yeah, look here. So you can see kind of mid 2020 around that May prediction. That's where the market was. Then let's have a look what we've had about 4 or so years, and it looks like these are in brackets of about 100,000. So what we've had, that's about a 35 to 40% rise, and that's Australia wide. So even Melbourne actually grew since then, and Melbourne's been the worst performer, despite me obviously being very bullish on it right now. And yeah, that's what's happened. So crazy. Don't know how you can be so wrong, but again, the economists and media outlets like the negative news because it sells headlines. But yeah, they're very good at predicting things, as you can see. Now, what's happening in today's market? Now, I'm not having a go at this journalist because she's just obviously referencing obviously economists and other people's predictions. So I'm not. She has plenty of articles. So some of them are very interesting. So I'd recommend a lot of them. A lot of you guys actually read it. So they're both sides aligned, whether they think it's a fall or a rise. But it's always important, obviously, to see both sides of it. But basically, in this article, for those that are subscribed to the Sydney Morning Herald, you'll realise that there's a few economists also saying that we're going to have a double-dip downturn in Sydney. The market's going to fall by 10 to 30%, depending on which one you think of. And I'll tell you, that's not going to happen. But anyway, that goes on. But what really bothers me, and obviously I get fired up about this, and I use it as comedy session every day, is it's not more so about me having a laugh or anything like that, but it's actually people in Australia generally actually like to listen to the media. Anything with the legacy media, it's just centered around give me attention, I want views online, I want, some Instagram followers or something like that. Me personally, I could not give a shit about that. The reason I do stuff like this is because I want to inform people of what actually works and what doesn't. So don't listen to these idiotic economists and stuff like that who aren't even investors themselves. They don't even know what they're talking about. And the worst thing is, a lot of the people who actually think they know what they're talking about, then they sell the most, valuable asset they'll ever own in their life. Then they realize 5 years later that it was a good asset, then they can never buy back into it. So don't listen to these guys. Really, if you're one of those people that does get very emotional in headlines, you need to call someone like me or someone else that actually is in the market, who actually knows this kind of stuff. And I'll tell you exactly what happens, and I'll actually prove it to you with proven data, proven fundamentals and everything like that. Because what you need to realize is don't just believe whatever you're told. You need to question everything and ask, why are they saying this? Do they just want views? Do they actually own a property? Are they just an art student who couldn't do a proper degree in uni? Or were they a part of a trade union or something that has never worked a proper job? Because that's what most of these people are. They don't know anything. They've never taken a risk and run their own business. So they don't actually follow market cycles. They just want to work their cushy office job, wake up, at fucking 8:30, go to the office at 10, have breakfast for half an hour, go to lunch for 2 hours, come back, say to all their junior staff, oh, do this and we do that for me, then, spruik the market. And you see it all the time. You see it on the media, them asking, oh, what do you think is going to happen in the market? And I'll tell you, a monkey could tell you as good of an answer as most of them. They'll say, oh, yeah, the supply's here, the market's a bit softer in this side of them, in, let's say, Brisbane and Adelaide and Perth, they'll do the best the next year. Yeah, sure, it will. What else do you know about the market? Do you know any detail, or is it all just general? What they do is they'll give you general answers, but nothing specific. And it's because they don't know what they're talking about. I'd love someone like me or someone like some of the other guys who actually know what they're talking about to actually give an interview with them and actually grill them, or maybe not grill them, that's probably a bit harsh, but actually ask them some detailed questions and let's see if they actually genuinely know what they're talking about. Because I tell you right now, my bet is I reckon 1 in about 20 know what they're talking about. The others are just the face of the camera. They don't actually know what they're talking about because they're not real and genuine investors in the market. They haven't had to do things from a hard place. They aren't like the genuine everyday Australian. So just don't listen to these everyday predictions, especially if it's from someone who's not an investor, and especially from broke art students in the media. Just follow those words of advice from me. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you're looking for a buyer's agent in Australia's best performing suburbs, be sure to reach out via www.compoundinvest.com.au. Thanks again and welcome to the channel. I'll see you on the next one.